We're live. See you in a minute. All right. Good morning, guys. Hey, there's Miss Mary in the background.
Hello.
Good morning, guys. Michael and Israel here for another Technician Tuesday. Got the whole shaved thing going on, huh?
Yeah, this is my, I think, last break of the year.
Gotcha.
Fair
All right.
break. So,
Getting rolling into the wintertime.
yeah, I have to reset
All
every
right.
now and then. So, see what my face looks like.
Well, guys, as we always do, drop us some comments and questions. I will make an announcement, or I guess we'll shoot a quick commercial for Virtual Fish Fest. We are going to use Technician Tuesday. We'll pick a winner at the end. I'm not sure because do you have any idea what your personal best largemouth bass is?
Shoot, a whopping like 3 pounds probably.
All right. So what I've been doing
I push
is
the limit.
What I've been doing
What
is
I do.
scrolling through the comments and stopping, and then we count up based on the number of the personal best and pick a winner. But somebody's going to win 5 free tickets into our raffle. We'll figure out in the next 20 minutes or so how we're going to do that. But somebody's going to win some tickets for the raffle. Doing that drawing on Monday, November 2nd. We'll pull some names out. We got a bunch of stuff to give away. There's Yamaha coolers, tackle, fishing line, all sorts of good stuff. And 4 folks are going to win a chance to go fishing with Brian Latimer, Matt Herron, Scott Canterbury, and Wes Logan for another little straight up fishing.
That's right.
Like we did last year. So
The works.
So more questions, more comments. There's Shane jumping in. He's won twice because he put in a lot of questions.
There
So
you
hey, here's a great chance to talk about how that Avid's doing. So drop us some questions. Today we're doing hard baits on the website. So if you shop the tackle, if you go over to our website, scroll down on bucksisland.com, you scroll down, you'll see a big tab that says shop tackle. You can go over there. You can get one free entry into the raffle by just shooting us your email address. There's a little sign up form on the homepage there, and do that. And then the more tackle you buy, for every $10, you get another entry into the raffle. Hard bait is the discount code for today. So any of the hard bait, jerk baits, crank baits, and all the apparel that we have online is it's going to be discounted 10%. That's for today. And as always, if you come into the loft, if you actually are local and you want to go shopping right there, then that's all going to be 10% off all week long. So come on in, get what you need. I think that's a long enough commercial. So I'm going to hold off. Let's throw out there. So you've been saying for a while now, Halloween typically marks the first freeze. So winterization.
Yes, it's getting there. So, and it may be warm. I hadn't even looked at the weather for this week because
We may not get that cold front this year, but Halloween. But I definitely one last.
It's usually it's usually like either right before, during, or right after. So
Okay.
I don't keep up with the weather. It usually surprises me, like
Gotcha.
everybody else. So, but it's I mean, we're pretty full up right now, but we try to get those winterizers because they're pretty quick, and it's more boats to take up room, so we try to pick a day to knock them out and get them out of here.
So talking with Angela this morning, our service manager and your better half, she said, yeah, we're tight on appointments, but for winterizations, just get them in and we'll get them knocked out whenever that time finally comes. But right now, so if you're an outboard owner and you're not planning on using your boat much anymore, what kind of stuff did they need to do?
As far as outboards,
yeah, for an outboard,
I would be I'd be getting ready to run as much of the gas out of the boat as possible while and go ahead and put stable in it in the process.
Okay.
Something oily. They've got different kind of stables. The Yamaha stabilizer is got almost like a Marvin's Mystery Oil type stuff in it. So we want some oil, a little bit of lubrication in there for the injectors because they've been going all year being cleaned. The injector filters get debris in them, but because a lot of people run ethanol, it actually is a solvent and it cleans and makes it kind of too squeaky clean.
Okay.
And if they sit for a while, they can stick.
Okay.
So putting some kind of oily substance in there is gonna keep everything moving good. And then if you can get a hold of some sort of I don't know, isopropyl type stabilizer that's got injector cleaner in it too. That'll help keep moisture from attracting to the fuel. But the biggest thing is to get as much of the old the gas that's in there out as you can.
So if you are an outboard owner and you don't worry about like what's going to hurt your outboard.
Let's say if you got some fishing line around your prop shaft, and it got some water in the actual oil of the foot, that if we get a hard freeze, that water is going to expand even if you got oil in there, and it's got to go somewhere. So it's either going to push the bearing carrier out the back or it's going to crack the housing.
Gotcha.
It's going to damage something more than likely. So I like to tell people to check their lower units just to make sure there's no water in there. The other thing is a lot of people, I see them all the time where their boat's on a lift and the boat lifts high enough to get the foot out of the water.
Yep.
And they trim it down to get the
if we are actually live. If we've reconnected.
I think so.
Froze up on me. Have to come back and watch.
Maybe on our end.
I think it's all on our end. Sorry, guys. We're doing the best we can. Somebody just shoot me a comment. Hey, you're up again. I'm going to check the phone. Otherwise, we'll kick out and start another one. We're getting a thumbs up.
There's Mr. Josh.
All right. Yep, we're still live. Okay, guys. Sorry about that. Thanks for hanging in there, folks. I guess we got more folks in today using the internet. So we're talking about winterization. I'm gonna bring up. See one question already on do we winterize wakeboard boats?
Wakeboard boats.
Inboards, inboard out drives.
We do. We can do. We
Right.
see a lot less of those, but we can definitely do it.
So yeah, Russ, give us a call at the shop, and but that shouldn't be a big deal there. All right, let's jump into some questions, guys. Andrew said, I have a Mercury 200 EFI. What can cause the bottom left piston to have a scald mark on the piston after running for 20 minutes? New injectors, bore perfect, new piston, the head. Pringles was upside down though.
I don't know what the Pringles is.
I don't.
It might have been.
I was hoping you knew what that was.
The head Pringles was upside down though. Well, I mean,
autocorrect may be an issue there.
It's possible.
All right. So what can cause the scalding or scald mark on the pistons?
It's hard to say. There's, if there's some debris in there, or if it, if you have to pre-lubricate everything when you're putting one back together. I guess I would, want to know if it's like with a complete rebuild and just that cylinder scalded, and I don't know if this was while you're idling or running the engine, what RPMs. There's a lot that can come into play there. So, and I don't know what the head Pringle thing is. It could have something to do with the head, the head, something being upside down. There's a lot, there's a lot that goes into rebuilding one of those. So it's any little discrepancy can cause issues.
Okay.
So.
Well, Andrew, feel free if you want to add a little amplifying information. We'll get through some other questions and we can get maybe get a little more detail on that, and we'll see what we can do. Michael Gladden, I have a Ranger and gas gauge has quit working. Any suggestions?
Yeah, there's a few things you can do. I think the first thing I would try to do is go to the back of the gauge. You're going to have a pink wire and a black wire, or your two signals. They use the ground as part of the signal, and the pink wire is part of what sends your resistance numbers to your gauge.
Okay.
So you'll jump those two wires on the back, and if your gauge moves, then the gauge is good.
Okay.
Then depending on what Ranger you have, most of the time it's under the seat, the tank. So you have to pull the tank or pull the seat out of the way so you can get to the tank, and you can jump that same pink and black wire at the sending unit.
Okay.
If the gauge moves, then your wires are good.
Okay.
And then more than likely you have a bad sending unit.
Okay.
Now, if you jump them at the gauge and nothing works, then you need to make sure you're getting power to the gauge, which typically is a purple wire, and then the only other wire that should be there is a blue wire, which turns the light on in the gauge.
All right.
So if you have 12 volts, go into the gauge, it's moving a little bit. Maybe when you turn the key on, then you got power to the gauge. Now you got to figure out if you just not getting a signal or if you have a bad sending unit. So that'd be the process.
All right, Michael, I'd recommend going back and rewatching the color combination there.
Yeah. Main thing is the pink and black.
Pink and black. All right. Shane said the Avid is doing so good and getting a lot of looks. It so far. Those boats are beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Rick Smith just bought a Falcon. I am trying my best to wear it out. All right. We like that. The more you use the boat, the more you like it. So, JJ, can you go over the break-in process for a 250 show?
Shane's already pretty much gone through it all. Okay.
Yeah, in the comment section.
Yeah.
And you came up with a handy little.
I have a sheet that it's not the official break-in from Yamaha, but it's basically what the RTAs, the guys, like if we have a new product and it blew up, they always send a guy out,
okay,
and do a break-in, and it doesn't look anything like the book because it's the book. All of them are the same. I don't care if you bought a 2.5 horse 4-stroke or a 300. You know, it just tells you like 3/4 throttle and varied RPM.
Okay.
You know, so many hours. But
so you would say your little gouge checklist in-house meets the requirements for the owner's manual.
Yeah. It
just has a little bit more.
It's detailed.
Insight.
Yeah, it's detailed.
Okay.
And I have copies of it here. I don't know where you are, but I would show it to you, but usually this thing doesn't like to focus when you show things.
So with that in mind, JJ, if you want to just message the shop. You can do it right here on Facebook. If you say, hey, could I get a copy of that? Then I will make sure to get an electronic copy, and I can send that to you.
You can actually text the service department through, I think, a regular number.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. 256-442-2588.
Yeah. So if you text that number, it'll go to our little connect box, and then we can actually send pictures through there, so we can take a picture of it and send it to people if they want a copy of that.
And one of the things in this winter season, I'm working on. I guess I won't say completely overhauling our website, but because it doesn't need complete overhaul, but there's some stuff we definitely can add in there. And so one of those is going to be an owner's resource page that I'm going to try and build out. And that'll be a great thing that I can put a downloadable, just go click and download that as a PDF. Yeah, JJ, hit us up however you want to, and we'll get you an electronic copy of what he's put together. And it will definitely meet the requirement of the owner's manual and give you some more info. But yeah, it looks like Shane covered pretty good. Any difference between, because Shane's going to have a 200 show, any difference 200 versus the 250?
It's pretty much the same.
Okay.
Matter of fact, it's the same block and engine, just different mapping in the computer.
All right. Can you talk about the boats on lifts again? Oh, you're talking about winterization. If somebody's got their boat and the lower unit sticking down in the water, that's where we were cutting out, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, as far as a bass boat with outboard, in this 4-stroke world that I'm talking about, the 2 strokes, it doesn't really matter that much, other than you don't want it trimmed up and filling full of water.
Okay.
So you want it trimmed down, but what you don't want, like on a 4-stroke, is the motor trimmed so far down like this, where the pistons are sitting downhill.
Okay.
And sometimes they'll get oil on the backside and it'll seep. And we've seen them. If somebody ran their boat, for an hour, the oil was real hot. They tucked it all the way in, put it on the boat lift, and turned it off. There's a lot of oil on the backside of those pistons, and if it sits there for 2 months, all of it's going to drain into the cylinders.
Okay.
And what we don't want is it get so much oil in there that it'll hydrolock the engine. So that's the only real big risk. Otherwise, it will just, if you get a little in there, it'll smoke. So
Okay.
So they've told us to put a little positive trim on it, but not so much that it's just filling the lower unit up completely full of water, on the backside of the bullet.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, let us know if that got it, Michael. Oh, there we go. All right. Shane, on my Avid, when I'm going down the water started to come from the dash. What do you think it is? Any ideas?
I don't really know. The only thing I know that's in there
Under the dash.
that's
I'm
under
sorry.
the dash is maybe the water pressure gauge, or I can't remember if there's a speedo on that one or not. But the line could be leaking.
Okay.
So that I would look. There's a little hatch on the bottom that you can get up in there. So just double check, make sure the line hasn't popped off of the water pressure gauge or the speedo gauge, if there's a speedo gauge on there.
Now, when I read that under the dash, I could interpret that as just coming out from. I mean, is it in the floor?
Typically, if you got water coming on your lap under the dash,
It's coming from something in the dash.
Yeah, it's going to be a gauge that has water going to it. And only two that I know of. I can't remember if his has both, but it'll either be a water pressure gauge or a speedometer gauge.
Okay.
And then sometimes they'll have a splice in there too, and it can leak. So
okay,
just look at those places.
And Shane, I mean, the feedback definitely on some of that kind of stuff with the Avids. It's a new boat. We're still learning the little quirks of what may or may not. I know back in my flying days, you get some old airplanes that it'd rain and in the water would get stowed in there, and then you go flying, and then the water would show up, and that was really the only way to get it out. So you never know. All right. Timmy Taylor, better late than never. Absolutely. Thanks for jumping in there. All right, JJ, be picking up the new Skeeter in December. So if you're picking up a new boat, we absolutely are going to go through all of that, whether it's his or one of the other techs. They'll go through the entire boat, answer all those questions about break-in procedures. We try to let you make sure you leave with no questions unanswered.
There's my sister. Hello.
Oh. Hey. All right. Brian, good morning. Are you guys able to bring a prop back into specs if it's been dinged? Who do you recommend? And can you add lift if needed to a prop? Thanks. Enjoy the live cast last week. Thanks.
Well, I guess it depends on how bad it's dinged. I've actually straightened a few minor, dings and props. The main thing is you want to send it to somebody who's not going to take a lot of material away from the prop. If you got a piece that's a bunch of jagged edges on the edge of a prop, sometimes the easy way is to grind it down and make it smooth and look pretty again. But you just took rotational mass away from the prop, which can actually affect the performance greatly. The other thing that I see a lot of is you might have a small ding in the prop, but I've got a little gauge I can put on the lower unit and spin the prop. And a lot of times the ear, you'll have one ear that's bent like a quarter of an inch, and the rest of them are in spec. So that usually takes somebody with a little bit more know-how and tools to fix. So
do we have a good shop that will kind of outsource some of that stuff?
We got a guy in Huntsville that we send them to when it's minor repairs and stuff. If you want it like blueprinted and balanced, this guy doesn't do that, so you'd have to send it to somebody like Croxton or Lanier.
Okay.
The main thing is you don't want them to thin the blades out too much, because they already have an issue with slinging the ear because we run the motor so far out of the water. You thin those blades out, it'll run faster and you'll get more RPM out of it and it'll perform well, but then you're even putting more strain on the prop that's balanced, and you end up slinging the ear anyway. But instead of doing it on a $700 prop, you're doing it on a $1,000 prop.
Well, with that prop, so recently I just got exposed to the plastic props that I know they're doing some testing with for the Rescue One guys.
Yes.
You looked at those much?
Yes, yeah. And
Right.
the removable ears.
Yeah, removable ears.
Yeah. A good way to remove those ears is put it on a big motor like a Chevy.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't seem like
remove them right off there.
Definitely doesn't seem like something that you would put on a big motor, but maybe some of the smaller pontoons or some of the little aluminum boats.
No, I don't know.
But yeah, so it's a multi-piece prop. I don't know. Some were
you can change pitch too by just sliding new ears on it. Yeah, I don't. You know, they've had some plastic props out in the past, but I think it would be more of like a John boat.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, I don't even know if a pontoon boat would do well.
Okay.
Only because it's pushing so much mass.
Yeah.
There's more strain on the ears.
I don't know. I know the Rescue One guys are, because that makes a lot of sense in the the first responder application.
Now, what I'm waiting for is somebody to come out with like a carbon fiber.
Ooh.
I've been thinking about it, but I don't have, don't have the skills.
That'll end up being like a $7,000 prop or something. But
I mean, there people paying $5,000 for 3 batteries.
All right.
So,
well,
who knows?
Carbon fiber prop. Interesting.
Maybe if you gain 7 or 8 mile an hour out of it, somebody would be willing to pay. You got to get the whole, how much does each mile an hour cost me? Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Tim jumping in. Easy way to remove those ears is put the prop on a big motor.
That's it.
Yeah, get it out of the water. All right. Let me jump back into some of these questions. Y'all have my ZX250 operating like a finely tuned machine, so I don't have any tech issues or questions at the moment.
Well, that's good.
Nice. Hey, a positive report. Yeah, we don't hear that too much in down in the service department. Hey, everything's working great. Thanks so much.
That's usually. Yeah, just hey, yeah, hello. Can I help you? Yeah, I just want to let you know everything's doing good. No, we don't.
Hey, shoot us a text. Seriously, show them some love down there. Shoot them a text. They'd appreciate that. All right. Were y'all able to get a restock supply of Yamaha T2 25 pitch props?
I don't think we got many of the 25s. I got plenty of 26s, and you're probably going to need one for the wintertime, so that'd be a good spare. Matter of fact, when all the props were, even though they're still real hard to get, but we ran into middle of the summer, kind of a little spot there where we couldn't get a prop. So we I scoured Yamaha's website on what was actually available in the country, and they had like 10 26s. So I ordered all of them.
All right.
So I've got plenty of 26s for that very fact, just in case, we ran out of props. We had to at least have something to put on there.
Yeah.
And it was, I knew wintertime was coming, and these motors do really well with 26s in the winter.
I may not be a mechanic, but I know enough to know that if you don't put a prop on that motor, that boat ain't going to go very far.
Something about SOL.
Yeah. All right. Wait, SHO, SOL? All right. What typically causes the Yamaha to take a few minutes to start up? Once it's running, it's good afterwards. I ran out old gas and put fresh 100% gas with stabilizer, just slow to start.
Well, I guess it depends on what kind of Yamaha it is, because there's a lot of them out there. If it's a carbureted engine, there may be some, and it's got a choke on it. It may be something out of adjustment.
You've got a newer motor, right, Michael? I think he's got one of the newer. Let's go with a more recent.
Okay, so let's say HPDI. HPDI depends on the year, but it may need a sinking link. There's some of them out there that had some computer issues and harness issues that actually caused cold start issues even in the summertime. I had one guy that had bought an engine from us, and he just happened to have one of those computers on there, and I had a blown up motor, and we put a different computer on there, and it went away. So,
right.
So sometimes the cold start can
looks like he's got a VMAX.
Okay, well, unfortunately, that covers a lot of motors as well. So if it's just a carbureted VMAX, I would say maybe the choke is not working correctly. Maybe it's closing, but just not closing all the way. I know that um, it's got a magnetic, piece in there, and sometimes if it's out of adjustment, it doesn't close it all the way.
Okay.
The best thing I can tell you, though, to find out whether it's doing that or not, a lot of those have a manual choke that you can pull all the way out.
Okay.
Pull it out, crank it up with it, and see if it cranks real easy. The other thing is make sure that motor is tilted trimmed all the way down, because gravity really helps.
Okay.
Get the fuel to the pistons, to the cylinders. But use your manual choke if it's a carbureted motor, and that'll at least let you know if it's something in the mechanism that's causing the issue.
All right, guys, we have been going for 30 minutes, and I think you need to get back to the backed up service department down there and go grab some lunch. And I'm not seeing any more questions, so let's pick a winner real quick. So you think about a 3-pounder's one of your personal best fish?
Yeah, considering how little I fish. I'm pretty sure I probably have some bigger ones on the hook in Gunnersville, but I was frog fishing the only time I really fished out there, and apparently keeping the frog in a fish's mouth is pretty tough.
Okay. So, here's a quick follow up. Keep it on the lift, and thought that might be the problem with the motor lifted up. So, get that motor down.
If the motor's tilted up and it's carbureted, and you're gonna have a heck of a time getting it to crank.
Okay.
Especially when it's cold. Once it warms up, put it back on the lid, it'll probably crank up. But if you can figure out a way to get your lift to where you can trim the motor all the way down, it'll make it a lot easier to crank.
All right. So I'm going to scroll through here. Oh, one more question. Did you get any 21 pitch props for Mercury in yet?
I think we got I think it was 20, maybe a 22 pitch for Rick for the Falcon 195. I think the 22 is what we're looking for.
Okay.
And we may have. I don't know for sure. I know we had gotten some in the past, but it might have been before.
Okay.
It might have been before we knew you might need one. So.
Okay.
But I'll check on that when I leave from this.
All right.
From this little deal here.
Okay. So you tell me when to stop scrolling, and we'll pick a winner.
Sure.
All right. So let's go up 3. 1, 2. Hey, Timmy Taylor, you're getting 5 free entries into our drawing next Monday. So I appreciate all you guys being here. This has been a lot of fun. We've been doing a lot of lives the last couple of days. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are going to do something. Dano and I are figuring out what we're going to talk about: hard baits, crankbaits, jerk baits, all that kind of stuff later this afternoon. So if you see us live again, jump in. And then we got John Cox will be out on his scooter on Thursday for a 2-hour live. But the weather's not looking great, so we may be back in here.
From the fish bite.
Well, not based on the open the other day. Everybody said that they thought they were going to be biting, and
they're just all fishing in the wrong place.
Yeah, that's probably it.
That's my expert my expert opinion, because
those pros they don't know much about it.
I know so much about that.
All right, guys, thanks so much. We're gonna jump out of here, and appreciate everybody for engaging with us, asking us questions. It definitely makes it a lot more fun. So. Guys, we'll see you again next week for Tech Tuesday, and I'll be back with you. We'll be talking about tackle or something this afternoon. So, Thanks, guys.
With that guy.